What's going on, Washington Commanders Nation? It's your boy Rio Robinson back with the latest and greatest on the Rambling with Rio YouTube channel, where we ramble about the Washington Commanders. Today, I'd like to welcome to the show Arizona Cardinals super fan and 2022 Arizona Cardinals fan of the year, Miss SUZREDSEA. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Rio. How are you?
I am phenomenal. We're coming off a spectacular Monday night victory. We got an old friend of yours. We got old Cliff Kingsbury coming back to town. How are you feeling going into week 4?
Well, he was no friend of mine, so I am pretty confident that our team is going to be, well represented this week against Kliff. I'm not worried about that.
You sound very confident. Your fan base sounds very confident, and your media, I think y'all are kind of looking past my boys this weekend, but we're going to get to that in just a second. You were the fan of the year in 2022. What was that experience like? That is cool as hell.
It is. It's a true honor to represent your team, and I was surprised when they announced that it was me. Totally thought it was a girlfriend of mine that was going to get announced. So it's an amazing fandom that you get to be part of. The 32 fan of the years. I have like a friend in every single stadium now. We're our own little family, and so it's just amazing. It's a great honor.
How did they announce it to you?
They had a media screening night where they were part of the Hard Knocks in season series, and they had hosted some of the season ticket members to go to a theater to watch that. And at the beginning of the screening, they had announced a fan of the year. And again, like, I'm sitting there listening to them. I'm like recording, thinking they're going to announce somebody that I know, and it was me. It was amazing.
Oh, that is fucking awesome. So what are the perks and incentives that come along with the title fan of the year?
Yeah, so obviously that's a huge honor, but then they also send you and someone else to the Super Bowl. They send you to NFL Honors Night, where I got to meet all the biggest NFL celebrities and then watch them get awarded for NFL honors. We have a cover. You can't know if you can surround here somewhere. We were on the cover of Sports Illustrated magazine.
Wow.
There's a 10-foot statue of me that was outside of the stadium one week that was presented to me by Captain Morgan. And then
statue. Wow.
It was amazing. And the Cardinals have decided to make this a legacy event. And so to keep the other fan of the years involved every year as we announce the next fan of the year. And they've included us in some neat things like not this week, but like a few weeks ago, they had us in to do a recording for the studio fan code of conduct in the stadium, I should say. And so that's running every week. And so they keep including us in these really unique things. So that's very cool.
That's cool. I seen you on the Jumbotron on your Instagram. Y'all make sure y'all follow her at SUZREDSEA, by the way, because what we love, admire, and respect is true diehard fandom. And that's cool that you mentioned that, because I was going to ask if there's any lifelong perks of being the fan of the year selected by your team going forward. But you're not even from here. Where does the diehard fandom come from? How does a Canadian woman like yourself fall in love with NFL football and the Arizona Cardinals specifically?
Yeah, I mean, I've always loved football. I grew up in Canada, as you mentioned, so I watched the CFL there. After high school, I moved to Calgary and watched the Stampeders, but there's some diehard football fans up there, and the NFL has shown up there. But I ended up moving to the States and moving to Houston, first of all, when they didn't have a team because the Oilers had moved on to Tennessee. And so it wasn't until I got to Arizona that I actually had a team and a state that I was living in. And it was in 2007, right before they were, on their championship run. 2008, they went to the Super Bowl, and I was locked in, and that was it.
Okay. That was one of my favorite Super Bowls to watch, by the way. Such a heartbreaking finish for the Arizona Cardinals. Oh, that'll do it, though. That'll definitely make you fall in love with it. So I met you at week 1 last year when the Cardinals came to town, when we had Sam Howell at quarterback. Met you at the Red Zone lot. I know you know Hog Farmer Chris and the Hog Farmers as well. We've kept in contact ever since. Suze is awesome, by the way. So make sure y'all follow her up. But what's a typical Sunday like at State Farm Stadium? I know you punched the clock early. Give me a full rundown of what your game day is like in Arizona.
For sure. So, I mean, obviously, you got to come with the game day fit. So, you know, you got to get up, decide what you're wearing based on what the
Always.
team's wearing. You got to.
And Suze puts that shit on, y'all. She puts that shit on every Sunday.
There's a whole closet you got to go through. So that's the
Mhm.
preparation. But yeah, like I try to get down to the stadium at least 3 hours early. A lot of it is to beat the traffic, but also to get in on the tailgating. We have a couple of really great tailgate groups out there that are fan friendly. So if you guys are visiting, come and see either K&P Tailgate or Tailgate Troy. We're in the F lot, or we're on the east side parking. And we welcome fans from across the league to come and tailgate with us. So we tailgate as much as we can for a few hours, and then inside cheer our guys on and do it all again the next week.
And y'all have a nice stadium, so I'm pretty sure the experience is not too bad when you're clocking in for a whole full-time day of fandom. You as well travel to do you go to all of the away games as well, or you go to a few a year?
Yeah, I pick a few every year. This year, there's quite a few stadiums that worked out really good with our schedule. So obviously we played Buffalo week 1, which getting a game in Buffalo when it's not freezing and, you know, end of the season, we had, you know, hundreds of fans that went out to that game. And so we take a look at 1 or 2 games, usually a season, that we pick and try and go to. Of course, I'm trying to get to all the stadiums right now. I think I'm at 19. So, you know, hopefully by the end of the year, I'll be in the 20s, and we'll go from there.
Respect to that. And your favorite stadium outside of your own right now is?
I would say we had the best time, and I think the swankiest stadium was in Vegas. It was, it was amazing. The food was great. The drinks were like true bartender mixologists, obviously, because they're in Vegas. And the entertainment was amazing. Like they had full on entertainment at halftime that was like a Vegas show. So yeah, that was my favorite so far.
Vegas is going to put on a show because that's what Las Vegas does. But let's keep the main thing. Our teams play each other on Sunday. And I mentioned it a little bit earlier. Your fan base is not very high on Cliff Kingsbury. And I want to get to the bottom of it because from an outsider's point of view, it looks like one, Kliff is probably more designated to be a play caller than a head coach and the CEO of a franchise. 2, I don't think the personalities meshed well between him and Kyler Murray. But give me your in-depth home feel of what went wrong with Cliff Kingsbury and how would you describe the tenure that he was your head coach?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I don't think he was ready to be a head coach. And I think, yes, if he was just focused on maybe being an offensive coordinator and having some other support rather than running the entire team, it may have set him up for some better success. Whether or not he and Kyler hit it off, I think that relationship, I think he wasted some of the best years of Kyler's early years in the league. So I was not a fan of him coming in because he didn't have a winning, you know, college record. And so I was kind of confused as to why they'd bring in a rookie coach as well. But I think he's grown. Obviously, we've seen that with, you know, what he's done. But I don't know whether or not the relationship with him and Kyler were quite there. I think Kyler needs somebody that has that ultra drive. And we see that with Gannon. Like Gannon he's vicious. He's like
intense.
He's intense. He has that ultra competitive spirit. These guys want to rally behind him. And I think Kliff in those early days was more like I'm going to let the players like just do their thing. And we're going to be, you know, copacetic and all of that. And I'm like, that didn't really work for what we were trying to do. Now, that being said, we did have a 10-6 season or whatever it was 1 year. So he did see some success there, but I just don't think he used Kyler's full potential.
I think the personality thing is something big to harp on because Kliff has that California cool breeze, laid back, smooth jazz ASMR shit going on with his personality. He's just a cool old bachelor in the draft house that he still has and said he still loves it in Arizona. Y'all are still writing him checks. So he's not going to say there's any ill will there. But I think him and Jaden are a better personality fit because Jaden is that California cool breeze personality as well. Kyler, if you're not really a close fan of his, and I see that he's kind of polarizing amongst your fan base as well. Why the fan base split on Kyler?
I think it's, it's what have you done for me lately? Like, that's really what it is, right? And so when we were winning, everybody is like, Kyler's the best thing on the planet, but we haven't gotten to the playoffs, or we haven't been able to finish out the seasons. And so I think that's why. And then there's like my opinion on Kliff coming in. He wasn't a winning, coach coming in. I think there was that opinion of Kyler that, he's too short, he can't play in this league. And there was all that early commentary about how he approached the game, which I think is ridiculous, but people either bought into it or they didn't. I think he has talent that some other quarterbacks just don't have, right? Like, you see the way that he's able to escape the pocket and extend these plays. And like, we've seen play of the years, like he had a perfect passer rating, like against LA, like that was history setting. So I think the potential is there, but I think it's people were either all in from the beginning or they just haven't seen enough from him lately. This is really his prove it year.
I think it's the combination of his height. He doesn't look like the prototype quarterback that we dream about and think about when we think of what a franchise quarterback looks like. I think Kyler's one of those guys that you got to know him to love him. He has a peculiar personality, and he's not for everybody. And I think that can clash with the guy. I think Kyler was intense. Kliff wasn't, like you mentioned. And it would just look like Kyler was berating Kliff, and Kliff was just there sometimes on the sideline when things went bad. And that type of personality, when things are going wrong, fans have a problem with things like that. But I looked at his game versus the LA Rams. Kyler looks like the K1 you guys know and love this year. He looks really good. Y'all got off to a 1-2 start, but y'all have had a brutal 3 games to start the season. Buffalo, Rams, and Detroit to start the year. What were your thoughts on your first 3 weeks of the season?
Yeah, I mean, playing Super Bowl contenders, right? So we all knew it was going to be a rough start. I think the first game in Buffalo, we were all pleasantly surprised to see that we were right there in that game. Like, we were 1 play away from winning that game. And so even though we didn't win that game, we felt like we could have had that game. Some questionable calls. I think the refs have been horrible this year. But I think we're pretty much where I expected us to be at the beginning of the season. I think if we don't win this game against you guys, there's going to be outrage.
It's gonna get explosive down in Arizona. I'm just trying to understand some things. Y'all have looked good a couple weeks this season, especially versus elite competition. But I'm trying to figure out, Suze, you're gonna have to let me know and enlighten me. Why are y'all looking past us on the schedule? Y'all have an established guy at the quarterback position, Budda Baker, absolute monster. Marvin Harrison Jr., Maserati Marv, love it. Y'all won 4 games just like we did last year. And why are we being looked past at your schedule? Is it because we have so much new here in DC and a rookie quarterback?
I don't think they're looking past them. So I don't think Jonathan Gannon is that guy where he's going to say, hey, this is whatever. We can infiltrate their defense, whatever. Like, I don't think he's doing that.
Y'all definitely can do that, though.
But I do think statistically, where we look at you guys with your defense, I think we have the advantage there. But I think we're really close. And I think it's going to be a high-scoring offensive game. I think the offensive side of the ball is going to be moving a lot. But I don't think anybody is saying this is going to be a walk in the park. But what I do know from Jonathan and the way he's been able to rally the teams, especially when there was some kind of meaning in these games, like when you look last year when we went against the Steelers, that's because James Conner was going back into Pittsburgh. When we played against the Eagles, the team showed up for Jonathan Gannon because they wanted him to win. Now we've got Kyler versus Kliff, or whoever, versus Kliff. There's some meaning behind this game. And so I'd be really surprised if they don't kind of pull out all the stops to make this win.
Yep, and just like y'all got meaning behind this game, we got meaning to turn up for Clifford, man. My boy Kliff is going back to Arizona. Jaden Daniels is going back to Arizona. He started his college career at Arizona State, and that ended badly, and look at him now. Both quarterbacks, former Heisman Trophy winners. Both quarterbacks are electrifying with their legs. I see an exciting offensive performance on both sides, but Oh, and thank you for beating the Eagles, by the way, last year, because when y'all won that game, that kind of confirmed us with the second overall pick. And Jaden Daniels may not be a Washington Command. I remember we were DMing each week talking about the draft stock. So
yeah,
that was funny.
And our kicker missed a kick to get us Marvin, and he's, you know, he just kicked a career high like 1,800 points for the season, so he never misses. So that was, yeah, it was fate.
Look at us. Look at us. We got exactly what we wanted on draft night. You got the player you wanted. I got the player I wanted. Our teams are squaring off. 4 o'clock, which is what, 1 o'clock kick your time on Sunday. How do you got this one faring? Give me a score prediction for the game on Sunday.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really close. I'm going to say 27 Cardinals, 24 Washington.
Wow, that's very close to what I got. 27-26 Washington. 26 is a wacky number. I know. I got us doing something like y'all are going to have a lot of scoring drive, but our bend not break defense, and it bends a lot. I got us giving up maybe 2 touchdowns and 4 field goals. So that's 26 points. I got Jaden going down with a game-winning drive, just like he did versus the Giants, and when he put the dagger in Joe Burrow and the Bengals. Who is your X factor for Sunday's game? We're missing a guy this Sunday. We're both missing a weapon. Y'all are going to be without Trey McBride. We're going to be without Austin Eckler. Your X factor for Sunday is who?
Yeah, exactly. So Elijah Higgins is going to have to step up coming in to replace Trey McBride. But I think we have to see that connection between Kyler and Marv again, like we saw in week 2 in LA, for us to win this game. Like, I think that's what we're expecting to see. I know he was a little off last week. We don't know where that connection went, but that's going to have to be on par for this week in order for us to pull this out.
I think our X factor, I think you're going to get a heavy dose of Brian Robinson Jr. I'm looking at you guys' first 3 games. You're giving up about $125 on the ground each week. I saw what Montgomery and Gibbs do, but that Detroit Lions offense is out of this world. James Cook was pretty effective on y'all week 1. Y'all weren't able to, the Rams weren't able to run on you guys, but y'all got up on them so early, they didn't really have time to establish the run game versus y'all. I think Brian Robinson's going to be our difference maker. That and Jaden Daniels' legs as well as his arm, because y'all don't have, just like us, y'all lack a pass rush. Gardeck is like the only guy I see getting to the quarterback over there.
Yeah, Gardeck's been playing great. I know Dante Stills was playing great. So yeah, we're going to need those guys to really step up in order to stop you guys.
Yep, but all right, Suz is picking the Cardinals to win 27-24. I got 27-26 Washington Commanders. So to close this one out, I got one more for you. The mood in State Farm Stadium and what the media is going to be saying if y'all lose a game to good old Cliff Kingsbury on Sunday night is going to be?
It'll be fan outrage for sure. The fans will be very upset. And I think it'll be that whole question around, whether we can pull this together as a team with Kyler being the quarterback to lead us. I have full confidence in him. So we'll talk after the game.
Hell yeah, we're coming. Kliff is coming back to town. It's like showing up to the wedding with your new girlfriend and trying to stun on him. And he got a taller model type this time. But thank you for coming on with me today, Suz. Let people know where they can follow you and find you on social.
Yeah, all the socials. It's SUZREDSEA. Thanks so much for having me, Rio. It's always a pleasure chatting with you.
Absolutely. And worst of luck on Sunday. Hail to the Washington Commanders. Thank y'all for checking in. Until next time, Commander Rio, out.